So let me tell you what had happened. Okay. So we were all at work, and I was going by the Boujee Budgeter, which she's another person out there in the finance world. Y'all should follow her. She's pretty cool. So she hit me up and she's like, hey, I already have that name trademark. You can't use it. And I was like, really? I was like, well, I've been using it for a while. I haven't had any issues. And so I was like, hey, look, if it causes any problems, I'll change my name. Okay. So I'm at work and I'm like, yo, what do I call? Like, what do I change my name to? And they were like, well, you are bougie, and you are a banker, And I was like, okay, Boujee Banker, let's do it. And so I did it. It stuck, and it's here now.
It's the eyes. She was like, yeah, I have it.
It's here.
For the podcast people, y'all should see her eyes, just straight up rolling her eyes, the Boujee Banker. Okay, cool. One thing I love about your brand, though, is you teach ladies how to be themselves, enjoy being beautiful, but also stick to that budget.
Yeah.
And so where did that come from? I'm curious to learn more about your personal story.
Okay.
Let's go back to the beginning, okay? Who are you? What's your story?
It was 1990. No, I was born. Okay, so, oh gosh. Well, when I went to Savannah State University, my undergrad was criminal justice. Okay. And I graduated, became a correctional officer, excuse me. Okay. So working as a correctional officer, everything was cool. Ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, and a fight broke out. And I was the only officer on the hall at that time. And so thinking safety first, I was breaking up the fight, and one of the inmates fell on my stomach. So I ended up on bed rest for the remainder of my pregnancy. Okay. So from there, I ended up moving to Atlanta. Okay. And after I gave birth to my daughter, I then was in the situation of everything that I did revolved around my spouse's schedule and now my child's schedule. And it made it so difficult to me because I went from having a 3-bedroom house, having a full career, to now my entire life was structured around other people. And I was like losing my identity of self and my family. Wow. It wasn't something like, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I was like, well, let me just try to work and see what I could do. And so I started working all these little odd jobs. And finally I was like, you know what? I want to be with my daughter. So in wanting to be with my daughter, I started working at the daycare that she went to. Okay. So I have a degree, making $7.25 an hour. Right. But I was with my daughter. Okay. And so I just started kind of paying attention. And I was like, you know what? This doesn't seem difficult. I could probably do this. So I went and I got my CDA certification. Okay. Then I started using my paycheck to purchase things for my daycare. So I started out the in-home daycare. So my business was doing great. And then eventually I positioned myself to open the first women's only gym with childcare. Wow. So I guess a short story to how I got there. I played college ball, I ran track, I played volleyball. So I was always an athlete. Yeah. And women were always like,
now, wait, what was your position?
Oh, I was a power forward.
Power forward?
Yeah, y'all. I'm 5'8". I was 180. See me in the paint all day. Yeah. So. Okay.
You still play?
No. So.
Okay, all right.
So, anyways, so I ended up positioning myself to be certified as a trainer, open up my own gym. It had childcare. I was doing phenomenal. Yeah. The issue that I later learned about how I operated with money was when you're an entrepreneur, most times you're just like, hey, I'm making money. It's coming quick. I'm spending it quick. It's spend it just as soon as you're getting it. And you're not thinking any different because you're making the money so fast. Yeah. One day, boom, everything ended. I was headed home and someone ran a red light, an SUV. No. Put me out of commission from my gym for a year. I was in a neck brace for 6 months. I had over 16 spinal injections. It was over. And so at that point, I was like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. This is nothing. And my chiropractor, my doctor, they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. So what I did was I just bled. My business just bled. My bank account was just bleeding. And I was still paying my employees, still paying the lease, still paying the utilities because I thought I was going to come back. And it just never happened. Oh, man. So once again, you go from thriving and living this wonderful lifestyle to having nothing. And so I started working all these jobs, selling life insurance, working at the front desk of hotels, doing anything I could to try to just piece my life back together. And it was hard because you go from this wonderful income to living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. But the mindset never changed. So I'm still spending money like I was an entrepreneur.
Got you. Yep.
Living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
And for me, it was like something has to change because when I look at my babies, I'm not being able to do the things I want to do for them, take them to places that they want to go, but I still want to put on, you know what I mean? Put on like I'm living a life that I know I can't afford.
Yeah.
So eventually it clicked and I was like, if something doesn't change, my babies are going to be a reflection of everything that I'm not doing. So, yeah. So that's how I got to the point of really buckling down and managing my money because all the workshops weren't working, the YouTube videos weren't working, the planners weren't working.
Yeah.
And it was at the fundamental level that I had to identify how I got to this relationship with money, what it would take to fix it. And then from there, I was able to put the pieces in place to make it change. And then people started noticing. They were like, dang, girl, okay. Like, you can tell. You can tell when somebody's putting on versus when somebody's actually doing well.
Absolutely.
And so then I started to help other people, and then it developed into this full business. So I ended up becoming a banker because I was living paycheck to paycheck, realized my relationship needed to change. I developed a love for understanding money. And they were like, you're really good at this. You should be a banker. Because at the time, I'm still like, making my way. And so became a banker. And it was when I was a banker, I really began to understand how terrible the relationship with money is for so many people. It went from the ranges of women my age to women who are ready to retire or men who are ready to retire, and they're being forced to work because they don't have enough to survive. So you have people who are like living and working their whole lives and their pensions aren't covering their cost of survival. And it's like, I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my children. And if there's something that I could do to help change what that picture looks like for other women, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah.